Alright guys, so just a brief rerun on Excel. So the first thing you need to do is graph the raw data. Now what I've been doing here is I've been moving this to a new sheet, calling this raw data. It just makes it a little bigger. Now we haven't spoken about it too much, but to add axes titles and a chart title is quite crucial for a merit. So this is just the raw data of fatalities per month from January 1969 through to December 1984. This title here, all he's got, this is just traffic fatalities, and this is time it's done monthly. Alright, so you need to be able to do that there. From this here, we are going sort of to count peaks to help us with our seasonal effects. So from here, you need to be able to discuss, what do you notice? Is there a seasonal effect? Okay, so once we've decided and we've written down what our seasonal trend is, I've noticed that here that every December there seems to be a peak, which to me suggests that there's a moving mean of order 12. So moving mean order 12. Now the moving mean order 12, I'm going to have to do a centered moving mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just going to block out those 6. Go down to the very bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, block out those ones, and then block out those 6. Alright, so with a 12, your centered moving mean has 6 above and 6 below. You have to remember that. Moving mean order 12, I'm going to average the first 12. I'm going to fill that down to the bottom. Now I've suggested to you guys to always double check that last one and make sure it doesn't go beyond into this empty cell. It does, so I'm fine. Now back up to the top. Now because that centered, that moving mean order 12 actually goes sort of halfway between these two here, that's why we do a centered moving mean. So again, I just calculate the average of these two here. I'm going to fill that down to where it is no longer blanked out. There you go, double check that one, perfect. Now that is what I'm going to do with my centered moving mean. Now after that, what I need to do is I need to graph these ones. So I'm going to graph that one. I'm going to graph that's the same graph. It's that 2D one with markers. Again, I'm just going to move that to a new sheet and I'm going to call it raw and smooth lead time. Now this is going to form a big chunk, because now from this I can see the overall trend is actually decreasing. The overall trend is decreasing. There's a couple of random variations. There's a random variation of some something happened within here that made it go down, because it sort of started off as being up, started going down here. And this big ramp here, there's something happened around this area here, and you can probably see it from just here, February 1983. In February 1983, if you look at the very top of your sheet, that's when the seatbelt law was introduced. But you could Google that, and that would tell you what you have to do anyway. So there is your centered moving mean. So now after we've done our center moving mean graph, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to add up all of these here. Add up all of these here. The difference between the trend line and your actual data, because that is the individual seasonal effect. What this is, it's just the difference between the raw data and your centered moving mean data. So what this is saying is that this July in particular, is 100 less than the average. August is 48 less than the average. September is 120 less than the average at that particular time period. So there is your individual seasonal effect. Okay, after we've done an individual seasonal effect, we just need to add up all of the Julys. Add up all the Julys, add up all the Augusts to get our average. Now this is where it takes a little bit of time. So the average seasonal effect is just the average of all the individual seasonal effects. So January, February, the same time periods as these over here. Now that's going to pick up that pattern. 3rd of December. So now what I'm trying to do is just Control Shift to the bottom of that, copy that. I'm going to, in July, I'm going to paste values. Now paste values is crucial. Now that there goes back up to January. So what I'm going to do, Control Shift down, cut it, paste it. Control Shift down, cut it, paste it. Control Shift down, cut it. Now you can obviously listen to me say exactly the same thing over and over again, or you can just believe that this is what I'm going to do for all of those. And eventually, this takes so long at the moment because it's such a big data set, but eventually you'll get to near the end and it'll be pretty easy to do, to see what I was doing, just like that. So now what we're looking at here is these are all the seasonal effects for December. So the raw data was 400 more than the average in December, 400, these are the negatives. You look across here, January is interesting. It's above, below, quite a lot below. So January is quite random. February, quite random too, you got above and below. So what we do is we calculate the average. I'm going to highlight all of that row. And if I scroll that all the way down, it's including these ones along the bottom here. So now these are my average seasonal effects. I need to paste the values of in here. So on average, January is 19 above the average. Now, not always, because over here it was 200 something below, so we've got to be pretty careful with doing January in particular, but some of these other ones are a bit more standard. All I need to do now is copy this all the way down. And I'm going to go to beyond, and I'm actually just going to pick up that pattern and drag it down, because this is how I'm going to predict what will happen in December 1986. So there is your average seasonal effect. Every seasonal effect you need to make a new table. Okay, so after we've done our average seasonal effects, we're going to get onto our predictions. So what we need to do is we need to click on our smooth line and add a trend line. Add a trend line over here. Add a trend line. Okay, now if we go to these little boxes here, series options, sorry, you need to click on your trend line, go to series options, make it linear, set R squared, sorry, display and display. Okay, now I'm going to bring it up here, make it a bit bigger so we can see it. Now I need to look at that and see, is that actually true? Now this is just a linear line. You know that this is the gradient of a linear line, and that is the y-intercept. Now this y-intercept doesn't match up with this one. This is my y-axis, that's my x-axis. This is my y-axis up here. 4,000 does not match with 2,000. So something's wrong here. What it's doing is it's picking up, this here is not 1, this here is not 2, this here is the 12th one in 1969, so it's 12 times 169. Calculator will tell you that. 12 times 1969, sorry. It's picking up that is 23,628. What you do is insert a column here, make it 1 and 2, so that this pattern here, so when we graph it, because what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to graph that. That. And that. Insert. What's this on the bottom? Now if I move that chart to a new one and call it this. The next thing we need to do is look at our predictions. Now the predictions that I use is just this equation here typed into a particular cell. So what you got to do is write down that number there, which I have done. I'm going to go equals negative 2.7103 times, you can't times by that, so you times by that one, and then we're going to add 1942.1. So that is our prediction. Feed that down to the very bottom. Oh, that's not quite right. Just delete those 3. So they are my predictions. Okay. Now, what we're saying is that our model predicts that January 69 will be 1939, which is way wrong compared to that one. But that's just up here. That's what we're predicting. We're just predicting that line there. After we've done our predictions, we need to have our seasonally adjusted value. What we're going to do is we're going to adjust predictions by adding on our average seasonal effects. Scroll that down to the very bottom. And this is why I carry on past, because now what I've done is I've made a prediction for December 1986. That is my seasonally adjusted value. Okay, so after that, what I want to try and do now is graph my raw data and my control seasonally adjusted value. So I'm going to insert a graph, and there is my graph. Now I'm just going to move to a new sheet. This is my seasonally adjusted value and raw data. And see, what we're trying to do is we're trying to model the blue line with the red line. Now you can see here, it's not a very good model, is it? And the reason why it's not a very good model, if we look back here, it's because this isn't very smooth. It's this big ramp here. There's this big ramp here. So something happened around this time here, and something happened around this time here that made the trend different. So that means it's not a whole trend over that whole period. There's almost like a small trend here, and then, well, there's another trend here, and then there's going to be another trend through here. But for achieved, that there is fine, and this can be your predictions. These can be your forecasts. So these are going to be your forecasts. Highlight these. These are your forecasted values, because you actually don't have any values for them, but this is what you expect them to be.